Hey guys, Eddie back with Couch Talk. Welcome back to the show. If it's your first time here, as always, welcome to the show. Guys, please hit like, please hit subscribe below. It really helps me out with the algorithm. And today, today we're going to do something a little bit different. Because today, I'm going to ask some questions to the audience, to the group. Because there's a couple of words that I've been trying to define and have been having some trouble doing so. And they seem to encompass what essentially is the ideologies that are prevalent in both the left and right radical wings. And on the left, we've got a word called woke or wokeism. And for the life of me, I can't figure out what this word means. I know what it means, in the English language, of course, and I know that it's been adapted to mean quite a bit more in the recent years. Now, I went to one site and it said this was the definition, and tell me what you guys think. It said to be woke is to be conscious of social inequities, particularly of a racial discrimination origin or perhaps of oppression or just general injustice with regards to often including minorities. And insofar as it goes, I don't know anybody who isn't aware of the fact that there is racial discrimination, that there is oppression in the world, and that there is injustice. So I'm not sure if that's a very good definition. Now, I know it has some implications, some connotations that are, kind of intertwined with it, kind of incorporated. So I'm hoping maybe somebody, who's watching this can post below what you think your definition of woke or wokeism is. And, tell me what you think. Tell me what connotations, if any, it should have. And, why you think it has those connotations. One of the things as I talk about this and both sides, these are basically the radical ideology of each side of the aisle. And I find often both of the core groups make the mistake of assuming that a much larger percentage of the opposite group is the radical part. So I'm not sure how many liberals are woke, for example. Maybe someone could help answer that question for me. I know that Black Lives Matter kind of adopted the term a little bit and used it very frequently. It was often used, kind of in synergy with that. A lot of times, like with regard to police brutalities and things like that. By the way, anytime there is a police brutality, that is a terrible thing. I just want to have said that. But, sometimes those brutalities were truly officers that needed to be put in jail and have the key thrown away. And sometimes there were, some kind of weird mitigating circumstances that would have encouraged an officer to behave in that fashion. But it's very difficult to disseminate between all of them, especially given the coverage that specifically officers, when they have an interaction with an African American, that kind of coverage is so much more prevalent, so much more rampant than the kind of coverage that one would get if you were, say, for example, a Caucasian American who was brutalized by a police officer. I guess nobody cares if you're Caucasian. But I guess I'm wondering, is wokeism, is there an express built-in connotation as far as the police brutalities are concerned? Is that part of it? I'm asking. Is there more? Is there something else? Does it involve? I'm wondering. Does wokeism involve correct pronoun use for transgendered or other gender ideologies? I don't know. So it's hard. It's been kind of hard to pin this one down. I don't know how much of the liberal wing is self-proclaimed woke people, right? and I also don't know that it means the same thing to each different person. And again, I mean, here I'm going to ask about the opposite side, the radical right side, which most people now refer to as Maga or Mega Maga. And again, here we've got this really weird, nebulous group, right? Like, it's very difficult to characterize who's actually in this group. MAGA, of course, I know what it means. It means Make America Great Again. And it was just a campaign slogan, as far as I know, adopted by Trump during his campaign. Now I'm wondering, though, does it mean more now? Because I'm not sure if it does. I'm not sure. Again, I would ask the group to tell me what it means to be a MAGA or a MAGA warrior or a mega MAGA. I took a look at some of the stats on, there's this, I'll link the link below. It's on Reuters Graphics. There was a poll done asking Trump supporters what being MAGA or what MAGA means to them. And far and away, most of them just said that it means stronger borders, good economy. That's just basically what Trump was campaigning for in his election campaign. And I mean, insofar as it goes, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think, though, the problem comes in when there's additional connotations, some additional implications, and I don't know how far it goes, right? Again, I don't know how, does being a MAGA warrior, does that mean that you were an insurrectionist on January 6th or someone that would support them? I see often a connotation that, being MAGA kind of indicates that you are, by nature, a vote denier. Not so sure that fits. So again, I would challenge, somebody on the right to tell me exactly what it means. Tell me exactly how many people fit into this group, because I'm not sure. I think that it's important that as we look at these, to understand, one, that they both seem to make up the radical sides, right? So, if there's this huge group of people, and most of them are, relatively moderate, or, some are fringe, but, basically you're just talking about these slivers at the end. And I think depending on how crazy, how radical you get, you may be talking about very, very, very few people. Like, for example, if you were to tell me that what it means to be MAGA is to be a diehard Trump supporter who is racist, who hates Mexicans, who wants to build a wall, who is an insurrectionist on January 6th, and who's a vote denier. Very few people fit that bill. Like, almost no one, right? And likewise, if you were to tell me, that a woke person is someone who believes in critical race theory, who would mandate censorship of speech or would require you to pay atonement or compensation anytime you misuse somebody's pronoun, and who knows deep in their soul that every single time a cop, ever touches anybody, that it's probably motivated by race or power, and that it's that tyrannical power that drives all things. If you were to tell me that that's what wokeism means, again, I would say you probably are talking about a very small amount of people who truly believe all of those things. Now, there's lots of stops along that road, right? A lot of stops on the way to hell, right? But I don't know. I don't know what either of those words mean, and I'm hoping somebody can post comments below to tell me. I think as an American society, we need to stop thinking of each other as being in that most radical group, in that group that's farthest away from me by definition. And what I see a lot of the times is you get so many mischaracterizations. Like, for example, when Biden gets on public stage and talks about MAGA warriors, I think, he thinks in the back of his mind that that's basically every Republican alive. And I'm here to tell you that I was a Republican for a long time, and I'm fairly independent, fairly moderate now, but even so, I'm still fiscally conservative, and I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a vote denier. I didn't insurrect anyone on the 6th. I didn't go raid the White House. While we're on this topic of the White House, by the way, here's my personal opinion. Anybody who charges the White House should be shot on sight. And I don't know why they weren't, honestly, on the 6th. I really don't. I think that, yeah, it was a big crowd, and yeah, we didn't have enough people, and yeah, there were a lot of failures, both with what Trump said, which, he may or may not have known what was going to happen in advance, who knows. But I think he knows that he has a big effect on people, and he definitely owns some responsibility in this. I think that there was some responsibility owed by the people who didn't staff enough people to manage that protest that day. But I think the biggest responsibility goes to the first person that walked on that White House lawn against permission, should have been shot on sight. The moment they try to enter that building without permission, without going through the metal detectors and all the other security protocols that are required for a place of that importance, everybody should have been shot. And after the first, 50 or so died, I guarantee you the rest of the crowd turns around. I guarantee it. I don't know why it didn't happen. I think it sets a bad precedent for our White House to be able to be accosted by anyone for any reason. I mean, what are we sending? We're sending a signal to our enemies saying basically, oh yeah, as long as you get a big enough group together, all you got to do is just walk in. Thankfully, there's gates and stuff now, but guys, if somebody steps foot on the sovereign territory of a government structure, light them up. What are we doing, right? Everybody should have been arrested that day. Every single person that charged that White House lawn, that violence is absolutely uncalled for, and every one of those guys should be behind bars. All right, let me know what you think about that too. I know that's a kind of a harsh stance against insurrectionists at the end there, but I think that's what we got to do. That's how it's got to be. Otherwise, we're not defending the government. We're not defending. Mike Pence was up there with his family, and people were calling to have him executed in the public square. They should have been shot. Anyway, I'll catch y'all next time on Couch Talk. Let me know what you think below.